Time to color match. For those of you that love Farrow and Ball colors but don't really love the prices that are involved to acquire them in Farrow and Ball paint, these are going to be 6 colors that I've matched into Sherwin-Williams and Benjamin Moore to give you some alternatives in other paint companies' colors. I'm doing the Lord's work here. Disclaimer, these are not going to be spot-on matches, but I do think they present a nice alternative to custom color matches, which can have varied levels of success. At least with these, you can get color chips that you can go to the Benjamin Moore store or the Sherwin-Williams shop, take them home, and then see it for yourself. That's the color you're going to be getting, which is great. I think that's always a nice thing to have. So let's go for it. Today's sponsor is us. ThePaintPeople.com is your go-to destination for quality paint and paint supplies. One of our standout features is our ability to create any color from all major paint brands. And the best part, we deliver across the US and Canada. Visit our website today and discover a world of colors, quality, and convenience. And as a thank you for supporting us on YouTube, use coupon code JAMES5 for 5% off your order. 3 off-whites that I enjoy, and then 3 dark colors by Farrow & Ball that I really love. Let's get into the first one, which is Weave It. So Weave It is a cool white. You could call it a very, very light gray. I think it's a great choice for anyone that wants a cooler leaning feel. Like maybe you have a very contemporary home that leverages a lot of grays and earthy concretes and steel, those sort of textures, really leaning into that aesthetic. Or you just want a white that's cooler without going overly into that blue side of things. Weave It is a great choice for that. So with Sherwin-Williams, I found natural white to be a pretty nice alternative, but I really enjoy Oyster by Benjamin Moore, mainly because it feels a little more rich in color. You almost get this pearlescent, I think that's the oyster talking, kind of feels like a pearl, like a little bit of a light gray and maybe a touch of violet as well. So it gives it a really interesting feel. Maybe not a spot-on one-to-one match to Weave It, but I just find it to be a nicer color overall. Next up, we have Farrow & Ball's Slipper Satin, a very popular, warmer off-white. It's described as being chalky, which I can understand. It just has a nice, lovely, slightly grayed out creaminess that I think is a nice alternative to Weave It if you wanted something warmer. The Sherwin-Williams alternative I found is called Nacre, which is interesting because it's described as a pearl white. We just talked about Oyster being very pearly, but this one's more of a warm pearl feel. And the Benjamin Moore alternative, which again, I do prefer, Strand of Pearls. Bit of a pearl theme happening, unintentional, but hey ho, we're going with it. What's nice about Strand of Pearls is it's part of the CSP line of colors. And if you don't know, these are formulated with a ton of different colorants all mixed in, and they don't really contain any gray to speak of. So there's a bunch of different hues coming together in the actual mixing process to give you a very complex, nuanced neutral. So Strand of Pearls, really beautiful choice, but Nacre as well by Sherwin-Williams is pretty close too. So now we're getting to probably my favorite off-white by Farrow & Ball because it's extremely unique. It's not something that you'd expect. I mean, maybe you would if you watch my channel because, of course, I'm talking about James White. Now, James White not only has a great name, the color itself is interesting because it has a very light green undertone that comes through, but it's rich enough to actually be prominent in most situations rather than just having a weird yellow undertone that sometimes goes green. I love it. I think it has a lovely character to it that is just absolutely beautiful. And there really isn't anything spot on with Sherwin-Williams or Benjamin Moore. For example, Barely Pear by Sherwin-Williams, kind of similar, but maybe a little lighter feeling, a bit airier. And then you have French Canvas by Benjamin Moore, which is a little bit darker and maybe slightly more grayed out, perhaps a bit more neutral feeling, so maybe easier to use and implement. You kind of have either end of the spectrum here, but I think they're both really good options. And it just depends on what kind of vibe you're going for. Okay, off-whites out of the way. Let's get to some of the rich, beautiful colors that Farrow & Ball is famous for. Inchira Blue is the first choice here that I wanted to mention. Probably my favorite color in the entire catalog. Lovely, dense, navy with a bit of a green undertone, a bit of a teal vibe happening here. All has a nice softening with some gray to keep it feeling a bit more usable, I would say, and more versatile. The Sherwin-Williams alternative is really solid. It's called Mountain Pass. So yeah, you do see a bit of that teal happening here. And then with Benjamin Moore, I wanted to give you 2 options. Knoxville Gray would probably be the one that's a little more spot on, I would say. Kind of goes a bit towards the green side of things. And then Nocturnal Gray goes the other way. It's a little more blue leaning, and it's the color that I actually used in my bedroom, and I love it. So both great options. Next, we have Duck Green, which is awesome. Really deep, yellowy, herbal green that I think is absolutely gorgeous. And the close alternative in Sherwin-Williams would be Rock Garden. Pretty solid choice, I would say. Maybe it feels a little bit less saturated in terms of that green aspect. Has a little more of a chalky feeling to it, but ever so slightly. Benjamin Moore alternative has the same level of saturation, but maybe a little more towards the yellow undertone side of things, but I love it anyway. It is Chimichurri. Another color that I've used in my past, in my condo. Lovely, beautiful green, absolutely stunning, whether it's well lit or not. I just think this color is incredible. But Rock Garden by Sherwin-Williams, probably the closer color if you really wanted duck green specifically. But of all of them, I mean, I would probably pick Chimichurri anyway. And then finally, a newer color by Farrow & Ball. It was released fairly recently, and it's one that I've seen talked about a lot online. I think it's awesome. It's called Cardamom, which is a beautiful spice. But what's great about it is it's brown, but kind of not. Like, it has a strong green undertone, gives it this sort of bronze feeling to it that I think is absolutely gorgeous. So in Sherwin-Williams, the close alternative I found is Nettle, which is pretty spot on, actually. It's very, very similar. Looks like it has a little more green to it, but that could just be me. And then the Benjamin Moore option would be Durango, which goes away from the green a little bit more of a brown, almost a taupe feeling to it. A lot of really good options here. It just depends on which direction you want to go, whether you want to lean into that greeny, bronzy color a little bit more, or just go for more traditional brown. But honestly, I would probably pick Nettle between the two, because I think what makes Cardamom so special is that little bit of greeniness that differentiates it from other browns. And that's it for this video. Check out this one.